Um, let's start. Sorry, for the wait. Let me share my screen, by the way. Welcome to the VOLTHA TST meeting. Today is March 7th, and please be aware that this meeting is recorded and the recording will be published on social media channels. So from the last week, um, we had some action items. So there was a missing notes in our release pages. I believe this is completed, right, Eric?
Yeah, they're on Confluence
Okay,
now.
thank you. So regarding the retirement of ONOS, so we are tasked to organize a meeting about this wish list. I was planning to talk with Abhilash about that, but I'll try to figure it out offline and ask Abhilash. So let me take a note here. Okay, about the hardware test for the last 2 weeks, I've tried to figure out what is the problem with this hardware test. So it seems there are two problems right now. One problem is about the Volta OLT reboots. So if we try to, so at the starting phase, at the setup phase, the hardware test try to reboot the OLT so that it can start without any connected OLTs, but it seems that it is failing and the subsequent tests also fails because of that. And if you manually trigger deleting the OLT using the force option, you can delete the OLT, and if you restart the tests, then the first ping checks is okay, but after that there is a test called add Volta DT subscribers, and also after that delete the DT subscribers, um, or vice versa. I'm not sure. So I see that the deletion of the subscribers is not working currently, because in the logs it says the meter info not found, so that it cannot delete the associated flows with the subscriber. So that test also failed. I haven't checked the rest of the hardware tests, but if we can find a problem with those tests, I think we can find if there are any other problems. It's really hard to debug all of those, so it is best to go by one by. So Pranet, do you ever any of any problems with your production systems or in your test systems with this?
Mm, no second, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
So, but you can. Um, so if you see the problem, I think possibly we will take a look at it. But we haven't seen this in our production system yet.
Okay. I'll I'll try to send the related logs with that
Yeah.
test, and you can try to understand.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, the GitHub action update. So I'm supposed to work on this GitHub action, try to understand implementing one of the tasks, but I haven't had time. We'll see for the next 2 weeks. Is there any updates on your side, Eric, with this GitHub action?
I am working on the pipeline that runs as a sanity test.
Oh,
It's basically a full integration test, and came across the issue that there's too much going on in there for the GitHub runners.
mm-hmm.
Um, Basically, it gets to the point where it's creating a Kubernetes cluster and it just stops.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm working on having those run in AWS just through GitHub instead
Mm-hmm.
rather than Jenkins. So yeah, basically still creating an ephemeral machine that'll run the test on and then shut down.
So GitHub Actions doesn't support creating a Kubernetes cluster for test purposes, right?
Uh, so I know that you can create very small ones.
Mm-hmm.
We've done that in other tests, but it is like it's already running in a container. So, and the system has very limited resources. So yeah, what those tests are doing um, is too much for it. So we need a bigger system.
I see. Um, so what do you think? I think the biggest resources on these sanity test sites, right? So what we are consuming right now on the AWS side is basically because of this sanity test takes too much time. And if we cannot do it on the GitHub action size, do you think can we get enough enough usage time not consuming the AWS? Couldn't.
Sorry, what was that?
So what I was trying to say, I couldn't find the right words for it. So our initial target is decreasing the usage in the AWS side, right? If we
Hmm.
cannot use the GitHub Actions for the sanity test, so is it going to be a good win for us using the GitHub Actions? What do you think if we cannot run the sanity test on the GitHub Actions?
Yeah. So moving everything to GitHub Actions would still be a significant cost reduction. But yeah, for these tests, there would still be a cost unless they are significantly re-engineered or just dropped entirely. So that's sort of that's definitely going to be up to the project. So it's you guys kind of need to decide if you're still okay with budgeting some money to run those tests or if an alternative needs to be found.
Okay, got you. Mahir, any thought with this? Or we can discuss later. Okay, let's move on. Let me take a note.
Hello. Do
Hey,
you
um,
do you can you hear me?
yes, yes, my,
Okay, sorry. It was my Zoom was crashed. I was on my way to office, and I
yeah, I
think
guess
that
that.
the internet connection problems. Anyways, I have a question here about this sanity test. I mean, do we know if it's only the sanity test that takes this much of resources, or are there any other tests? I mean, how many of them? How many of them can run okay on GitHub Actions? So
Um, let's see. Sorry, let me pull up my spreadsheet with all the jobs. So the vast majority should run fine. Um, well, but it also depends on which ones are most important to you guys. I think some
do you
of
have a
the,
list of them?
yes,
Could you please share the list with us?
yeah.
Okay, that would be great because I don't remember. I mean, how many different kinds of tests we have because there are some, um, daily jobs. Some jobs are running after the patches, etc. A lot of kinds of tests here and there. So if we have a list of them, that will be great on a
But
sheet. I mean.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat. Um,
I'll try to, yeah.
so if you, let's see, it's the easiest one. Yeah, if you look at that list of jobs, or actually if you go to the second tab in that spreadsheet to job types, they are sorted there by the job types, and then uh, each repo that utilizes that job type is listed. So as far as I know, it's only the sanity tests that are going to have this problem. The unit tests so far that I've tested seem to work fine. Um,
Yeah.
But
yeah, so go
is it
go to the second tab.
Second tab. Okay.
Yeah, so Docker publish, GitHub release, Helmlet, Maven publish, all those will run fine. I'm not sure about the patch set tests and the Volta integration. Actually, no, I can tell you the Volta integration periodic ones will probably run into the same thing because I think that they
Yeah.
use, those are similar integration tests where they're bringing up a lot of stuff at once. So it's likely that those aren't going to be able to run either on the default GitHub runners.
Um, I have a proposition here. What if we get rid of this periodic tests that are there are too many of them, but we can have a single sanity test which tests only the master, for example, when it can be triggered once we create a patch set. But we still need to have the AWS resources for that. We need to have a Kubernetes cluster. So can we still use the AWS? But you are saying, Eric, that you need to find a budget for that, right?
Yeah. Um, so essentially we still have Jenkins running. So if we do this, like the all the money being spent on Jenkins will go away for the most part.
Hmm.
It's a little confusing because uh, basically the cost of actually running the Jenkins server will go away, and the cost for running most tests will go away. So it is still a massive reduction in budget. It's just not going to go to zero
Hmm.
if we continue to run some of these tests through GitHub Actions, but using AWS instances to run the heavier tests.
I see. Hmm.
What is the total amount we are paying to AWS for this test?
I'm not sure. I don't have that in front of me
What
right
amount of
now.
savings are we talking about? That would be a question in the board meeting if we, need to take this to board for a decision. The first question will be, I think, the amount of the budget that we are paying to the AWS and amount of the savings that we're going to do.
If you can find this information for us, Eric, it would definitely help to decide.
Hmm.
Um, another possibility, I'm thinking that maybe we can try to set up a test job in the Berlin lab for the BB sim, so we can trigger those tests in the hardware lab.
Hmm. Yeah, that would be another possibility.
Yeah.
So let's see. Last month's AWS cost was about $2,700. I
Monthly. Wow.
Yes, last month.
Wow.
So I think we could reduce that by at least $2,000, get it under 1,000, likely under 500 a month. But I think it would probably end up costing a few $100s a month.
Okay, that's a lot. These are not dedicated EC2 resources, right? Only probably the Jenkins job is running on a dedicated EC2, I guess, and the other jobs are just on demand, right?
Sorry, the other jobs are just what?
The other jobs probably are on demand. It's it's not running on dedicated EC2.
Yeah. Actually, nothing is other than the server itself.
Yeah.
Everything else is just running on short-lived runners.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mhm. Okay. Got it. We'll discuss this. Just checking the other jobs, what we are running. Um, the most of them are compile time tests, I guess, right? Only there's all of these verify tests, also publish tests, license checks, etc. They are all compile time tests, but this we should look at this integration periodic software upgrade and Oh, what about the unit tests? They can be run on the GitHub Actions.
Yeah, the ones I've tested so far seem fine.
Okay. So these migration status are all pending. What does it mean, by the way?
Just that they haven't been completed, and those. Sorry, I haven't been using the migration status much, so they're they're almost all in pending right now. That could probably be updated for at least a few.
Okay. These are the all of those, and this is the copy. Okay.
Yeah, this is it's all the same information, just kind of sorted in different ways. As I've worked through it, I've needed, you know, um, different ways of looking at the information. So the first one, the first tab is just all the jobs sorted by name. Then I sorted them by job type and which repos need each job type. And then the third tab, which is poorly labeled, is sorted
Hmm.
by repo instead, so that you can see which
Hmm.
job types apply to each repo.
Okay, got it. Could you please, it can be later, could you please also tell us the previous month's budget? What is the cost? So if you can provide us a couple of months consumption in
Sure.
USD dollars, it would be great.
Actually, now that I look at it, this is running a few other things. So that, the 2,700 that it cost last month includes the static sites, the Garrett, the NetBox server, and we have these three Rancher nodes, and I'm not sure what those are being used for.
Recording in progress.
But yeah, so there are a few things that are still being used outside of Jenkins, which does mean that it's likely that um, I'll need to figure out what the cost reduction is for the Jenkins stuff specifically. But the Jenkins server itself is running on an X-large server, so just getting rid of that will provide a significant cost savings.
But the Jenkins server itself is only for the Jenkins jobs because
The
I don't
the
think it
Jenkins server itself is just running the server, and then each job is will bring up its own node, run on that, and then it's terminated afterwards.
um so for just single Jenkins server, I don't think Xlite server is the correct one. I think we should have a smaller instance for the Jenkins. It's just it doesn't need any compute power other
Yeah,
than
I think that is probably overdone.
is it a spot instance or a on-demand instance? Do you see that or do you know?
We don't use spot instances.
Hmm. Okay. Okay, I see. We should we should be discussing this offline and also in the board. Okay, thank you, Eric, for the information. Let me also take a note here. So the next topic is about the document that Pranet created. I saw you have some replies to our comments. Thanks for that. But I haven't checked your replies yet. But we can open it and discuss.
Yeah, sure.
If I will be able to see these comments. Let me download it and open, share it again. Oh, this is no, it should be a Google Doc, right? Sorry.
Yeah, it's a Google Doc, actually. Would you be needing a link, Serkan, for the Google Doc?
Yes, I'm trying to find it.
I'll share it over. I'll
Oh
share it
yeah,
over the chat.
thank you.
I just shared it over the chat, the link.
Okay. I will share all my screen. It's hard to
Okay.
find all of. Okay, I hope. Yes. Okay, one of the comment was about the storming effect of the events. So you're saying that because the adapter will not be in ready state in that case, there will be no processing. That makes sense. But as probably there will be still some storming effect because of most probably we will not be able to switch to the not ready state. So in that period between the ready and not ready state, there will be some repeated alarms, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that should be acceptable.
Yep.
Same comment here. So unable to handle when the core is down again and won't be. Okay. Okay, same.
Yeah, this, yeah, I'll incorporate the design changes. Yeah, I found it to be a good idea.
Yeah, it is. I also shared this document with the team in
Okay.
Argela, and their suggestion was to adding a specific error code, so the northbound systems would be for northbound system it would be easier to interpret other than the text descriptions.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it will also standardize the errors.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
So,
I still have to check on this. I'll check and I will update you.
okay. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. The last item, the documentation task that we have missing, but there is no volunteer for this task. So I'll skip if there is no volunteer. And this is the end of our agenda. Anything else on your side, guys, to discuss?
I don't have anything.
Yeah,
Okay,
nothing from my end too.
I
thank
have
you.
a quick topic to bring up.
Yes, please.
So Fran had asked, I think you were in that email thread, had been asking for some sort of like diagram or illustration of how the community lab is currently set up as a way to include it in not just his upcoming presentation, but in just general sales outreach to prospective vendors who are interested in getting their equipment in the lab. And Dan can like help generate a diagram, but he needs the relevant information as to like how things are currently set up, what makes it interesting, why vendors should want to integrate their equipment in there. So I want to bring that to this group as is that something this group can help with, like working with BISDN? Is there anyone else we should be reaching out to get that information so that we can get that created?
Mm. I can't, I couldn't remember if I that email. So the ask is having a diagram explaining about the Berlin lab, the equipment there, what kind of tests we are doing in that lab, kind of things.
Yeah, like what equipment's currently in the lab? How is it being tested? And, what benefits are there to it being in the lab? Just like, one or two slides that we can add into that presentation.
So I think we already have such a document, at least showing the diagram of the lab that we have. Let me try to find it out.
Oh,
So
oh,
gateway and firewall configuration. I think we can use some diagrams here. So this is, I guess, yeah, for the networking connection.
okay.
What else we have?
Yeah, if there already is something that we can just kind of, simplify, that would be helpful.
Yes, at
Yeah,
least.
that looks
Yeah.
like we could use that maybe. That's under cable overview. Okay, let me,
Do you have access to this?
I should, right? Let me, infra, what is that under? Oh, I think I need to, I must not, no, I'm not logged in. That would be helpful.
Yeah, it is not publicly open, this community lab. So
Right. I just haven't. Okay. So you have that under cable overview.
Yes.
So we got 2 pods, radicis adtran, Zixel.
So these OLTs, ONUs, and VLANs might be can be used
Okay.
because it lists all of the hardware and the nodes we have, compute power, and the switch configuration, etc. So this looks promising.
Yeah.
But this is a little bit.
And then there's a whole the testing paths I think could also be
Yeah,
useful.
one,
Okay.
one of these should work, I guess.
Yeah. Let me share these with Dan, and he might just come back with some questions, but this could at least looks like a good starting point.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
great. Thank you.
Okay, of course. Okay, thank you for your time joining this meeting. Hope you see you in 2 weeks. Have a nice day.
Right.
Yes,
Thanks. Bye.
thank you.
Thanks,
Have a
Jill.
nice day too.